The Graduate Show. For those of you fortunate enough to be watching us from the United States of America, a special hello and happy President's Day to you. For you inferior mortals watching from lesser countries, President's Day is the annual celebration held traditionally on the birthday of George Washington, born on the 22nd of February 1732. However, now it is just a day to celebrate all things presidential, held on the third Monday of February. George Washington was considered the hero and praised by many for the American War of Independence, distancing America from the British. However, I thought this was down to the Mid-Atlantic Ridge.
A GCSE geography joke.
Thank you. Yes, that joke can be found along with many others in the Humour for the Modern British Educational System, Chapter 5 GCSE, subsection 221A, Physical Geography. There are many other celebrations today, including the birthday of actor Alan Rickman, Tsar Peter III of Russia, Nina Simone, the supercentenarian and longest-lived woman in history at 122, Janine Clement, and Michael McIntyre, a man about whom, in true McIntyre tradition, I can think of absolutely nothing amusing to say. It is also the birth date of President Robert Mugabe. However, this didn't appear on my Simpsons calendar. Nina Simone was born on the 21st of February 1933 and died peacefully at home during a comeback rehearsal session. Ironically, she played through Feeling Good with great gusto, but halfway through I Got Life rather uncharacteristically snuffed it. The vicar caused a great upset at Simone's funeral as he launched into a searing rendition of Cinnamon halfway through the eulogy. Many of Simone's best love songs are actually ones she didn't write herself. However, her heartfelt and powerful rendition of Mr. Bojangles is a song which inspired the now legendary, and some might argue, greatest rock band of all time, Muse, to record a cover of Feeling Good. This day in history saw the British government under Winston Churchill abolish identity cards in 1952 to set the people free. The cards were reintroduced in 2006 with the Identity Card Act, presumably to burden and shackle the people. Due to strong opposition, the cards never really took off, despite a plan to trial the scheme on airport staff and pilots. The Act was relapsed in January of this year, with the proposed destruction of all data on the National Identity Register by, funnily enough, today, 59 years after the plans were first scrapped. Well, and they say history repeats itself, although this time it isn't so much of a salvation as a money-saving distraction while they kick us in the balls. Today also marks the 270th anniversary of the death of the British agriculturalist Jethro Tull, a man whose horse-drawn seed drill practically started the agricultural revolution. His machines were hugely unpopular as they put many farm labourers out of work. The new machines were faster, more efficient, and didn't require a gallon of cider to motivate them. My personal thanks to Humour for the Modern British Educational System, Chapter 5 GCSE, subsection 14, History, the Agricultural Revolution, for that particular gem. But even Tull must be turning in his neatly furrowed grave at the thought of George Osborne. If only there was some way of generating mass unemployment at a more productive level, then maybe, too, Osborne may be immortalised in, say, 200 years by a hairy, eccentric and progressive flute player standing on one leg. It is on this very theme of employment, or the lack of it, that we turn to me with this week's section. Me. Thank you, me. This week, David Cameron launched a startling plea to shake up the welfare system, or as it's been amusingly renamed, mate, that's well unfair. What are you looking at, system? He's cutting benefits and housing to make work pay. I know, I told you, it's a startling reformation. But what he really means to say is that now you can work and pay. Pay for it yourself. As an ardent beneficiary, this is of course deeply and personally distressing. You want me to enter into some sort of mild slavery in exchange for the right to continue living? Dream on. The word career comes from the Middle French, and it means literally road. It's a means of getting somewhere, but it's not the thing itself. The word job has uncertain origins, but probably comes used in this phrase, job of work, as opposed to a gob of work, a gob meaning literally a lump or a mass. So it's a piece of work rather than a constant, shall we say, vocation. Vocation, you see, comes from the Latin vocato, meaning a call or calling, which is now often misused. Employment is an interesting, as the word employ is the same as imply, and both come from implicate, to become involved in, to be forced into, and often referred to in a crime, i.e. implication. People have informed me of my apparent disdain to employment on a seemingly constant basis, especially at the job centre. It's almost as though you don't want a job, they chant. Why, fat, balding, boring job man from the job centre? How extraordinarily perceptive of you. It's almost as though you knew I have a frankly barely plausible and half-fictitious degree in live art. Maybe I didn't realise when I chose my GCSE options in art, drama and music that I wouldn't be able to get a career as an investment banker. Maybe I thought when I chose my A-levels in art, drama and music that I might one day rise to become a deputy assistant officer, manager. But maybe my sole ambition with a degree was to give ill-informed advice at a second-rate job centre. Or maybe, and just maybe, I didn't want a career at all, preferring to pin my hopes on something more, the chance of doing something more with my life than simply getting through it. I know it's my own fault for being too ambitious. What can I expect? I know I should just get used to it. That's life. Maybe I should be able to focus my ambitions on becoming more driven in furthering my career. I know a life as an artist, an actor, a poet or a musician, it's a revolutionary notice. They've only been around for say, the past 1,000 years or so. But even previously notable vocations like teachers and doctors and nurses, they're so precariously unstable, penny-pinched and towed to the line that they seem to be about as appealing and as palatable as a Nick Clegg promise. Sure, I'll keep the hospital that my son was born in open. Yoink! Hey! What? No, not. Surely not honest Nick. Nick the stalwart of the truth Clegg. How are people still shocked by this man's two-faced capacity? Please! Oh yeah, and it's your fault for making me have aspirations. It's your generation, you overly successful, possibility-opening bastards. At this point, the now quite shocked-looking man from the job centre opposite tentatively hands me a slip of paper. Have you ever considered a career in... Oh, thanks, flatuous fatty. Yes, actually, I have considered a career in that. That was the very consideration which led me to make my informed decision at 13 to do everything possible within my powers to ensure that I never again had to consider that as a possibility in my life. So yes, David, I will inevitably end up finding some sort of work in exchange for your precious money, the majority of which I will probably end up paying back to you to fund your reckless cuts, because frankly I have little other choice. But I want you to know something. I resent every single penny of it. I had originally intended to end this show with an amusing skit which involved me hurling fistfuls of cash at the camera, but unfortunately I couldn't even afford a measly tenner, so I've had to draw £10 on a piece of card there. So here you go, David, come on. Come and take your filthy money. Come and take your hard-earned, dirty money. Come on, take it from me, Dave. Oh.